The crimson sun of Zorvath hung low on the horizon, casting an eerie glow over the battlefield. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burnt metal and alien plasma discharge. Captain Alexander Alex Grant crouched behind a shattered crystal outcrop, his pulse rifle steady in his hands as he surveyed the chaos unfolding before him. The Federation's finest soldiers were scattered across the alien landscape, engaging in fierce combat against the Zorvathi warriors. Through the haze of smoke and laser fire, Alex spotted her for the first time. She emerged from the swirling dust like a vision, Princess Leora of the Zorvathi royal family. Her silver hair shimmered despite the grim surroundings, and her violet eyes seemed to pierce through the battlefield chaos. Unlike her warrior brethren clad in heavy battle armor, she wore a flowing combat suit that somehow managed to be both practical and regal. What caught Alex completely off guard was her expression. Not one of hatred or battle fury, but curiosity, as if she were observing a particularly interesting scientific phenomenon. Their eyes met across the battlefield, and something strange happened. Time seemed to slow down. The cacophony of war faded into background noise as they stared at each other. Alex felt his finger loosen on the trigger, though his tactical mind screamed at him to maintain position. The princess tilted her head slightly, studying him with an intensity that made his heart race faster than any battle ever had. It was absurd, really. Here they were, supposed mortal enemies, yet there was no hostility in her gaze, only a peculiar kind of wonder. When their forces finally disengaged hours later, Alex couldn't shake the image of the alien princess from his mind. The intelligence briefings hadn't prepared him for this. A royal warrior who fought with precision but seemed more fascinated by humans than intent on destroying them. Back at the Federation's forward operating base, he found himself sketching her profile from memory, something he hadn't done since art school days before joining the military. The diplomatic summit took place in the neutral zone between the two armies' positions, established in the ruins of an ancient Zorvathi temple. As Alex stood among the human delegation, his eyes immediately sought out Princess Leora. She moved with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly, commanding attention without demanding it. When the formal introductions began, protocol dictated that each side present their key members. As fate would have it, Alex found himself face to face with the princess when their groups converged near the central altar. "You're the soldier from the battlefield," Leora said, her voice carrying a melodic quality that transcended language barriers. Before Alex could respond with the standard diplomatic pleasantries, she surprised everyone by reaching out and touching his armored shoulder. "Your fighting stance is charming. Very precise." The human delegation collectively held their breath, while several Zorvathi warriors shifted uncomfortably. Alex felt heat rising to his cheeks beneath his helmet. "Princess Leora, He hesitated, then decided to abandon formal speech entirely. "You're quite skilled yourself. I've never seen anyone move like you did on the field." A small smile played at the corners of her mouth. "You watched me fight?" There was no accusation in her tone, just genuine interest. Around them, the tension between the two groups seemed to ease slightly, as if their exchange created a bubble of calm in the charged atmosphere. "I couldn't help it," Alex admitted, lowering his voice. "You fight like poetry in motion." The word sounded ridiculous even to his own ears, but Leora's eyes sparkled with amusement rather than offense. "Poetry? How quaintly human," she replied, her smile widening. Then, to everyone's shock, she stepped closer and added softly, "I find your directness refreshing. Most humans are so stiff during these meetings." Before Alex could formulate a response, General Hargrove cleared his throat loudly. The moment passed, but something fundamental had changed. As the negotiations continued, Alex noticed Leora frequently glancing his way, her expression thoughtful. Meanwhile, the human delegation kept giving him sideways looks, clearly wondering what exactly had transpired between their soldier and the enemy princess. During the breaks between negotiation sessions, Alex found himself assigned to escort duties for Princess Leora. Their interactions became a delicate dance of formality punctuated by moments of unexpected humor. One afternoon, while showing her the human encampment's defensive perimeter, Alex tripped over a loose stone. Instead of maintaining her regal composure, Leora burst out laughing, a sound like wind chimes in a summer breeze. "You humans are so clumsy," she exclaimed, helping him up. "But I suppose that makes you endearing." Endearing. Alex chuckled, brushing dust from his uniform. That's a new one. Usually, we're just called primitive or barbaric. Leora's expression softened. Those who call you primitive haven't truly observed your species. Your emotions make you fascinating. She reached out and touched his cheek briefly. Like now. You're blushing again. It's probably just the heat, Alex muttered, feeling his face grow warmer still. Later that evening, during a cultural exchange dinner, things took an unexpected turn. Someone suggested a demonstration of traditional dances, and before Alex knew it, he was being pulled to the center of the gathering by an enthusiastic Leora. The sight of the alien princess attempting a human waltz while Alex tried to explain rhythm was enough to break the ice completely. Even the most hardened military personnel found themselves smiling as Leora spun gracefully, adapting to the unfamiliar steps with remarkable speed. "You're doing great," Alex encouraged her, trying not to laugh as she nearly collided with a serving table. "Though maybe we should avoid the spinning part." "Nonsense," Leora declared, grabbing his hands again. "If my people can master quantum physics, I can certainly master this. What do you call it? Waltzing." The laughter that followed seemed to bridge centuries of animosity between their species. For the first time in recorded history, humans and Zorvathi shared genuine smiles, their previous hostilities momentarily forgotten in the joy of shared experience. Yet beneath the surface, Alex couldn't ignore the growing connection between himself and the princess, nor the implications it might have on their respective missions. As weeks turned into months, Alex found himself increasingly torn between duty and desire. His superiors grew concerned about his frequent interactions with Princess Leora, especially after intelligence reports indicated unusual activity among the Zorvathi leadership. Meanwhile, Leora faced her own challenges within the royal court. Traditionalists viewed her growing friendship with a human soldier as a threat to Zorvathi purity and sovereignty. One evening, while walking through the crystalline gardens of the temporary peace compound, Leora stopped suddenly and turned to Alex. "They want me to end this," she confessed, her violet eyes clouded with worry. "The High Council believes our friendship weakens our position." Alex felt a pang in his chest. "And what do you believe?" She touched his arm lightly. "I believe that sometimes, the greatest strength comes from understanding those we consider different." A small smile played at her lips. "Besides, you're rather cute when you're worried." "Cute?" Alex raised an eyebrow, attempting to lighten the mood. "Not exactly the word I'd use to describe a decorated Federation captain." Leora's smile widened. "Oh, and what word would you use?" "Perhaps intriguing," Alex ventured, taking a step closer. "Fascinating. Beautiful, even." Her cheeks flushed a delicate shade of lavender, a Zorvathi blush, he'd learned. "You humans are too bold," she whispered, though her eyes sparkled with amusement. "But I think I like it." Their moment was interrupted by a distant explosion. The ground shook beneath their feet as red warning lights flashed across the compound. Alex's comm unit crackled to life with urgent messages. "Captain Grant, we've got multiple breach points along the eastern perimeter. Unknown vessels approaching fast." Leora's expression hardened instantly. "Those aren't my ships. Someone's violating the ceasefire." She activated her own communicator, barking orders in Zorvathi. Within minutes, both human and Zorvathi forces were mobilizing, their previous tensions forgotten in the face of a common threat. As they ran toward the command center, Alex grabbed Leora's hand. "Whatever happens next, know that I—" "Don't say it," she interrupted, squeezing his fingers. "Save your words for when we survive this." Her serious expression melted into a small smile. "Besides, you humans always need dramatic moments, don't you?" Despite the gravity of the situation, Alex couldn't help but laugh. "Guilty as charged, Your Highness." The mysterious attack forced an uneasy alliance between human and Zorvathi forces. Side by side, Alex and Leora coordinated defense strategies from the command center, their chemistry translating into an uncanny ability to anticipate each other's tactical decisions. When Alex suggested positioning snipers at unconventional angles, Leora immediately understood his reasoning and implemented complementary measures using Zorvathi technology. Their combined efforts resulted in several successful repulsions of the unknown invaders' advances. However, the true test came during a critical assault on the main generator complex. Trapped in a collapsing corridor with enemy forces closing in, Alex shielded Leora from falling debris while she used her bioluminescent abilities to create temporary force fields. "Your turn to save me," she quipped through gritted teeth, her hands glowing brighter as the pressure mounted. "Always happy to oblige royalty," Alex responded, firing precise shots through gaps in her protective barrier. Their banter continued even as the situation grew dire, each joke masking their growing fear for the other's safety. When reinforcements finally arrived, they found the pair surrounded by unconscious enemies, their weapons smoking but their spirits unbroken. Back at the medical bay, as medics treated their minor injuries, Alex couldn't resist teasing, "You know, most dates don't involve life-threatening situations." Leora laughed, despite her bandaged arm. "Then perhaps human courtship rituals are overdue for some excitement." Her expression turned serious. "You saved my life today." "We saved each other," Alex corrected gently. "Just like we keep saving this fragile peace between our peoples." Despite the exhaustion evident in both their faces, neither could deny the bond forged through shared danger was stronger than any formal treaty. Their relationship reached a turning point during a tense standoff at the border outpost. Human and Zorvathi forces had gathered, each side accusing the other of harboring the mysterious attackers. Tempers flared dangerously until Leora stepped forward, placing herself directly between the opposing lines. Without hesitation, Alex moved to stand beside her, their shoulders touching in silent solidarity. "The truth will reveal itself," Leora announced, her voice carrying authority that silenced both sides. "Until then, we stand together." She glanced at Alex, adding softly, "Some connections transcend borders and species." Her words sparked murmurs of dissent among her own people, but also nods of agreement from unexpected quarters. Several human officers stepped forward, echoing her sentiment. The gesture broke the tension, leading to unprecedented cooperation between the two forces in investigating the attacks. Through it all, Alex and Leora remained inseparable, their partnership becoming a symbol of hope in uncertain times. One quiet evening, as they reviewed security footage in the command center, Leora suddenly turned to Alex with an intensity that made his breath catch. "You must understand something," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "On my world, alliances between species are complicated. My feelings for you could start a civil war." Alex set down the datapad he'd been holding, his military training momentarily forgotten in the face of her vulnerability. "Leora, No," she interrupted, placing her fingers against his lips. "Let me finish. In Zorvathi culture, when we choose a mate, it's not just a personal decision. It affects entire bloodlines, political alliances." Her voice trembled slightly. "But watching you lead, seeing how you care for your people, it makes me question everything I've been taught about superiority and difference." He took her hand in his, careful of her still healing injuries from their last encounter. "I'm just a soldier, Leora. Not exactly prince material." She smiled, though tears glistened in her eyes. "You're more than that to me. To many of us, actually. Some of my advisors have started calling you the bridge builder behind closed doors." Her expression turned mischievous. "Though I prefer cute human soldier, personally." The levity helped ease the tension, but Alex could see the weight of her position pressing down on her slender frame. "What happens if we pursue this?" he asked seriously. "Can your people accept it?" "I don't know," she admitted. "But I do know that every time I try to push you away, my resolve weakens. When you risked your life for me in that corridor." Her voice broke slightly. "No one has ever made me feel so protected and respected at the same time." Movement outside the command center caught their attention. General Hargrove and several high-ranking Zorvathi officials approaching. They quickly stepped apart, but not before sharing a look that spoke volumes. As the meeting commenced, Alex found himself struggling to focus on military strategy while his mind raced with possibilities and consequences. Could their relationship survive the political storms ahead? More importantly, Could their species? The revelation struck during a routine analysis of captured enemy technology. While examining damaged circuitry, Alex noticed something that made his blood run cold: human manufacturing codes embedded in the alien components. He immediately brought his findings to Liora, who verified them using Zorvathi scanning technology. Their worst fears were confirmed. Someone within the Human Federation was collaborating with rogue Zorvathi factions to escalate the conflict. "This changes everything," Liora whispered, her hands trembling as she processed the implications. "If both our governments discover this, they'll blame each other regardless of the truth," Alex finished grimly. "We need to handle this ourselves." Together, they devised a plan to investigate the traitors secretly, knowing that exposing their relationship now would compromise both their positions. They began working separately but in perfect synchronization, communicating through encrypted channels and subtle signals during official meetings. Their investigation led them to an abandoned research facility on the moon of Calith. As they crept through darkened corridors, their movements perfectly choreographed from months of working together, they discovered evidence of a horrifying conspiracy. Experimental weapons designed to target both human and Zorvathi biology lay dormant in storage chambers, alongside files detailing plans for a false flag operation that would ignite all-out war. "This is beyond anything we imagined," Liora breathed, her bioluminescence flickering with distress. "Who could orchestrate such madness?" Before Alex could respond, alarms blared through the facility. They had been discovered. Racing through maintenance tunnels, they found themselves cornered in a cargo bay. As enemy forces closed in, Liora turned to Alex with desperation in her eyes. "We might not make it out of this," she said urgently. "If we don't, promise me you'll tell our story. Show them that peace is possible." "I'm not making any promises about leaving you behind," Alex replied firmly, drawing his weapon. But before they could fight their way out, something unexpected happened. Reinforcements poured into the bay, both human and Zorvathi soldiers, led by General Hargrove and Liora's chief advisor. The older leaders exchanged meaningful glances before turning to address the traitors. "We've known about this conspiracy for some time," Hargrove revealed. "We let it play out to gather evidence against the real architects of this plot." He looked at Alex and Liora. "Though I must admit, your independent investigation uncovered details we missed." The aftermath of the discovery threw everything into chaos. The traitors were arrested, but news of the conspiracy spread rapidly through both human and Zorvathi populations. Public opinion swung wildly between demands for justice and calls for retaliation. Amidst the turmoil, Alex and Liora found themselves under intense scrutiny. Their secret investigations, while crucial to uncovering the plot, raised questions about their motivations and loyalties. Political pressure mounted from all sides. Liora's position as princess became increasingly precarious as traditionalist factions within the Zorvathi government demanded she sever ties with Alex. Meanwhile, human politicians questioned whether Alex's judgment had been compromised by his relationship with the alien princess. Rumors swirled about classified recordings of their private conversations, though neither had any proof of such leaks. Caught in the crossfire of public opinion and political maneuvering, they struggled to maintain their investigation into the deeper conspiracy. Evidence suggested that the betrayal ran far higher than initially thought, possibly reaching into both governments' upper echelons. Each new discovery put them in greater danger, forcing them to operate in even deeper secrecy while maintaining their official duties. Their once fluid coordination became strained as they had to carefully navigate around increased surveillance and monitoring. Simple gestures of support during official meetings carried potentially devastating consequences if misinterpreted. Yet despite the mounting pressure, their determination to uncover the truth only strengthened. They knew that exposing the full extent of the conspiracy might be their only chance to prove that their relationship wasn't a liability, but rather a testament to the possibility of interspecies cooperation and understanding. In the shadow of the conspiracy's exposure, Alex and Liora found themselves facing an ultimatum from their respective governments. The Human Federation demanded Alex's immediate reassignment to deep space operations, while the Zorvathi Council insisted Liora enter into a politically arranged union with a high-ranking noble. Both knew compliance would mean the end of their partnership and potentially the fragile peace they had worked so hard to build. Walking through the deserted observation deck overlooking the dual moons of Calith, they confronted the impossible choice before them. "There's another way," Alex suggested, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "We expose everything. Not just the conspiracy, but our entire relationship. Let both our peoples decide if progress is worth more than tradition." Leora's bioluminescence pulsed erratically, betraying her inner conflict. "You humans have a saying about burning bridges, don't you? This would be more like vaporizing an entire planet's worth." She paused, staring at their reflections in the viewport. "But what other choice do we have? If we separate now, everything we've built becomes meaningless." They spent hours mapping out their strategy, knowing this would be their most dangerous mission yet. Using secure channels, they began discreetly documenting every interaction, every shared victory, every moment of genuine connection between humans and Zorvathi. Their personal logs, once carefully guarded, became the foundation of their argument. Proof that cooperation wasn't weakness, but strength. The breakthrough came unexpectedly during a supposedly routine diplomatic function. As Leora addressed the assembled dignitaries, her carefully prepared speech took an unprecedented turn. "For generations, we've allowed fear to dictate our relationships with others. Fear of difference, fear of change." Her violet eyes locked onto Alex's across the room. "But fear doesn't strengthen us. Understanding does." The chamber erupted in chaos as Alex joined her at the podium, displaying holographic records of their joint operations. Gasps rippled through the crowd as they witnessed undeniable evidence of successful collaboration. Traditionalists shouted accusations while progressive voices called for calm. Through it all, Alex and Leora stood united, their presence speaking louder than any words could. As the debate raged on, something remarkable began to happen. Younger members of both delegations started stepping forward, sharing their own stories of cross-species friendships formed during the crisis. Veterans from both sides recounted moments of mutual respect on the battlefield. Slowly but surely, the tide began to shift, revealing a groundswell of support for change that neither Alex nor Leora had anticipated. The revelation came during a routine medical examination. Leora had been feeling unwell for days, dismissing it as stress from their ongoing political battles. But the Zorvathi medics confirmed what Alex had suspected when he noticed subtle changes in her bioluminescent patterns. Patterns that only someone who had spent months studying her could detect. She was pregnant, and not just with any child, but a being who would carry the genetic legacy of both human and Zorvathi species. When Alex entered her private quarters later that evening, she was standing by the window, her hands resting on the curve of her abdomen. Her silver hair shimmered under the soft glow of the twin moons outside, and her violet eyes were filled with a mixture of wonder and fear. "Alex," she whispered, turning to face him. This is unprecedented." He crossed the room in 3 quick strides, taking her hands in his. "Are you okay? How do you feel?" She gave a small, shaky laugh. "I feel like the universe has decided to make our lives even more complicated than they already are." Her expression softened as she looked up at him. "But I also feel hopeful. This child could be the bridge we've been fighting for. A living symbol of unity between our peoples." Alex's heart swelled with emotion, though the weight of the situation pressed heavily on his shoulders. "We'll figure it out together," he promised, pulling her into a gentle embrace. "Whatever happens, we're in this together." The news spread faster than either of them anticipated. Someone, whether a well-meaning ally or a malicious informant, leaked the pregnancy to both governments. Within hours, emergency councils were convened on both sides. The Human Federation and the Zorvathi High Council found themselves grappling with a dilemma neither had prepared for: how to handle the impending birth of the first interspecies child in recorded history. General Hargrove summoned Alex to his office, his usual stern demeanor replaced by something closer to concern. "Captain Grant, you understand the gravity of this situation, don't you?" he asked, pacing behind his desk. "This isn't just about you and Princess Leora anymore. This affects every treaty, every alliance, every future interaction between humans and Zorvathi." "I'm aware, sir," Alex replied evenly, though his hands clenched into fists at his sides. "But if we let fear dictate our response, we're no better than those who orchestrated the conspiracy we exposed." Hargrove sighed, rubbing the bridge of his nose. "You're right, of course. But politics isn't about doing what's right, It's about managing perception. If we don't handle this carefully, there will be chaos. Meanwhile, Leora faced similar scrutiny from her own people. The Zorvathi High Council gathered in the Grand Hall of the Royal Palace, their voices echoing off the crystalline walls as they debated her fate. Some called for immediate separation, arguing that the child's existence would dilute Zorvathi purity. Others saw an opportunity, a chance to solidify peace through marriage and ensure the child's legitimacy. Princess Leora stood before them, her regal bearing unwavering despite the storm raging around her. "If you wish to separate me from Alex, you'll have to do so over my dead body," she declared, her voice ringing with authority. "This child is not a mistake to be erased or a problem to be solved. It is a miracle, and I will not allow anyone to take that away from us." Her words silenced the chamber, leaving only the faint hum of the energy crystals embedded in the walls. One elder council member stepped forward, his expression thoughtful. "Your Highness, perhaps there is another way. A union between you and Captain Grant would legitimize the child and strengthen the bonds between our peoples. It would send a message to the galaxy that cooperation is possible, even in the most unlikely circumstances." Leora's cheeks flushed a delicate lavender, but she held her ground. "A marriage cannot be forced. It must come from mutual respect and love." "And does it?" the elder asked gently. "Does your bond with Captain Grant meet those criteria?" She hesitated, glancing toward the doorway where Alex stood watching silently. Their eyes met, and in that moment, the answer was clear. "Yes," she said firmly. "It does." Back on the human side, Alex faced a similar proposal. General Hargrove presented him with a formal recommendation for marriage, citing diplomatic necessity and the potential benefits to interstellar relations. "It's not ideal," Hargrove admitted gruffly, "but sometimes duty requires sacrifice." "Do you love her, Captain?" Alex didn't hesitate. "More than anything, sir." "Then perhaps this is the best outcome after all," Hargrove said, surprising Alex with a rare smile. "Just don't screw it up, Grant. The fate of two species might depend on it." The announcement of their engagement sent shockwaves across both societies. For some, it was a cause for celebration, a sign that peace was truly possible. For others, it was an affront to tradition, sparking protests and heated debates. Despite the backlash, Alex and Leora remained steadfast, their resolve strengthened by the life growing within her. Their wedding ceremony took place in the neutral zone where they had first connected, blending human and Zorvathi traditions into a beautiful fusion of cultures. As Alex slipped a simple titanium band onto Leora's finger, she reciprocated with a luminous crystal ring that pulsed with her unique bioluminescence. Together, they vowed not only to each other but to the future they were building, a future where differences were celebrated rather than feared. As the festivities continued late into the night, Leora leaned against Alex, her head resting on his shoulder. "Do you think they'll ever fully accept us?" she murmured. He kissed the top of her head, his hand resting protectively over her belly. "They don't have to. As long as we believe in what we're doing, that's enough. Besides," he added with a teasing grin, "if anyone gives us trouble, we'll just remind them whose parents created the galaxy's first interspecies diplomat." She laughed softly, the sound carrying hope and determination. "You humans really are too bold sometimes. And you Zorvathi are too stubborn," he countered playfully. "Guess that makes us a perfect match." In the distance, the crimson sun of Zorvath began to rise, casting its warm glow over the gathering. For the first time in their tumultuous journey, Alex and Leora allowed themselves to imagine a brighter future, not just for themselves, but for the child who would one day bridge two worlds. Years later, Alex and Leora stood together on a balcony overlooking a thriving human Zorvathi colony, their child, a brilliant blend of both species, playing happily below. The little one's laughter echoed through the air, a testament to the peace they had fought so hard to build. "They called us impossible once," Leora said softly, leaning into Alex's embrace. "And now we're proof that nothing is impossible," he replied, kissing her temple. Their love had weathered war, politics, and prejudice, emerging stronger with each challenge. The galaxy slowly transformed, inspired by their unity, as more bridges formed between species. Hand in hand, they watched their child chase fireflies under twin moons, a symbol of hope for all. "To think it started with you calling me cute," Alex teased, his eyes twinkling. And ended with you being right, for once, Leora shot back, smiling. They shared a quiet laugh, content in their happily ever after. Together, they had changed the stars, and built a legacy of love and understanding. Under those crimson skies, they knew their story would inspire generations to come.